Hey guys, welcome back to the Dividend Talk channel. I'm Engineer My Freedom, and this is where I usually go a little bit solo and produce a shorter video. So, a little bit like last month, I'm going to talk about my December income and my dividends portfolio, how it performed, give a little overview on how I performed over the whole year, and maybe set out some goals in terms of dividend income for the year. So, stay tuned, and we'll see you on the inside. So, as you can see, December was quite a good month for me in terms of dividend income. We received €236 in dividend income, which is nearly double what we received in November. So, typically, December seems to be quite a good month for me. We received income from 13 separate companies this month, which is quite a lot. I've only got 30 companies in my portfolio, so it's nearly half my portfolio have paid me in December. But I'll just go through some of the companies here. So 3M paid me €11. These are all converted, so obviously these guys pay you in US dollars. I convert that over and I take the tax off. So all these figures that you see here are converted to euros, and they'll also then have the tax deducted from them. That reflects my own tax rate here in Ireland. Yours may be different. We have quite a diverse tax regime over here, so you may pay more, you may pay less, but this is for my circumstances. So as I said, 3M have paid us 11.77. That's actually an increase on this time last year where they paid 10.89. Now I haven't added any capital to 3M, so that's just all pure dividend growth. It might not look like a lot of money, and it's not, but it's nice to see that increase in year over year. Walgreens has been the same, so they had paid me €25.32. Again, I haven't added any capital to them this year, so it's nice to see those small increases. And look, they'll build up hopefully over time as my portfolio gets bigger and bigger. The snowball effect should really start to take off. Realty Income, I mean, what can I say about this company? They just pay every single month. And again, I've received €11.09 from them. AFLAC is another company, so I have added some shares to this company. I've increased position throughout the year. So last year I received a little €1.16 dividend, and this year that has increased now to €10.20. Johnson Johnson has gave us €13.08. Microsoft has also increased the dividend, and I received €6. And the two biggest by far are Unilever, who I have 100 shares in, have given me €42.68, and Royal Dutch Shell, who have given me €48. Orange, which was a relatively new position, I think I wrote about them before. I mentioned them on the podcast. It's not a long-term play for me. They're in the telecommunications. They're European based. They do have some headwinds, but there's a lot of risk there as well. So it's not a long-term play. I do think that the gain outweighs the risks that I'm taking. I don't think it can fall a whole lot lower than what it is. So it's a little bit of a gamble for me, but I'm happy to hold them for 2 or 3 years at least. Enegas, which I will speak about in a few minutes. I bought an extra few shares, but they paid me €34. Vitaris or Beatrice, I always call them wrong. It's stuck in my head, but Beatrice have paid me €7.06. They've just actually increased their dividend by 9%, I believe. So we're going to see a bump in that again next year, which is quite good. They're a relatively new company. It's been a merger, so it'll be interesting to see how they perform. I know there's a lot of noise starting on Facebook, not Facebook, on Twitter, and other social circles are starting to cop on and see this company. So let's see how they do next year. CHY, they are a closed-ended fund that I have. They pay me every month as well. They're a monthly income stock, but it's pretty low. I get 136 from them, and then the last one is Lockheed Martin, which was a relatively new addition as well. So they paid me €10.90. So overall, as I said, it's been a pretty good month. I've got €236 in dividend income. I think that's the third highest month that I've had. As you can see from my chart over the last 24 months, it's quite clearly in an upward trend. We've got some months, typically around April and May, where we do see extra income because some of the European companies pay once a year, some of them pay twice a year, but the bulk of that dividend income is probably in around March, April and May. So I'm not surprised to see that bit of a jump there. I probably expect to see the same again this year, to be honest. But as you can see, it's in an upper projection, which is quite nice to see. If I look at my projected annual dividend income, it's gone up by 1%. I'm not quite surprised with that because I've made some purchases in December, and some of them are a bit more higher yielding. So the first company that I bought this month is Chesnara. Now, for any of you that are not familiar with Chesnara, they are a small cap insurance company. European DJI has done a video on them, and he's also done a blog post on them, so I'll link to them below. He's done quite a comprehensive blog post here, outlines their business model, how they earn money, do they have a catalyst, talks about their management, and also their dividend policy. As you can see, if you look at their dividend history, they've got a nice graph here. You can see it's always trending up the way. Every single year they're increasing, so that's always something that we like to see. I have only put a startup position in them, so I have done a small bit of research. I haven't dug in as deep as European DJI has. I've watched his videos, I've read his blog, but I still need to read their annual reports and get a feel for what the business actually do. So for me, it's just a startup position. Once I have money in that company, then that will now allow me to just keep reading their reports, keep reading their quarterly reports, their annual reports, and just getting a feel for what the company do and how they make money. But as a pure yield play, I mean, they look very attractive, and the business model looks very good. Enagás is another company that I think if you follow the podcast, you will know that I sold them. Well, I didn't want to sell them, but I was selling covered calls on them, and I got assigned, and as I got assigned, I missed out on the dividend last year. So this year I was adamant I was buying back just before ex-dividend date, which I did, and I bought back 50 shares of Enagás, collected some dividend, and I still hold them. I'm not intending on doing covered calls on them at the moment. The premiums, first of all, are quite low, and second of all, I only bought 50 shares and not 100 shares back. I also bought a little bit of Fresenius. So for those of you who are not too familiar with Fresenius, we do have a podcast on these where Phil, he's one of our listeners, and he's been on the show quite a bit, from Germany, and he has extensive knowledge in Fresenius, much more knowledge than I do. So I recommend checking that out. I might actually do a subsequent video with a little bit more visuals here, just to give you a feel. But just to give you a little bit of an overview, it's a global healthcare company. They've got 4 kind of branches underneath them. They got Fresenius Medical Care, Fresenius Caboy, Fresenius Helios, and Fresenius Vamit, I think they pronounce it. But they're a huge company. Definitely worth checking out. I'll just show you briefly their dividend history. They've got 28 years consecutive of increasing it, which is quite good for a European company. And just look at that chart. I mean, that's what you want to see as a dividend growth investor, just constant growth. I don't recommend buying just on dividends, by the way. You need to check their balance sheet and cash flow and so on. But I might do a bit of a deep dive in these later on, just to show you maybe a bit more visuals that you won't see in the podcast when Phil goes through that. So stay tuned for that. My overall portfolio yield is still quite high. It's still at 4.19%, which is very, very high. My target level, or when I was making my projections initially, it's based on 3%, so I'm well above that. Maybe I need to focus a little bit more on quality companies and not so much bargain companies or companies with higher yield, and I may actually focus on some more dividend growth companies, but we'll go over that in a post on my blog, and I'll update you here as I go along. The largest sector is still consumer staples. As you can see, it's 37.62%, very, very high. And my largest gross dividend is still Altria. with 15%. So we'll see them change throughout 2022. I don't imagine I will be buying too many consumer staples, but I don't know. It will. It's a long year. A lot can happen. So in terms of my overall income for the year, I'll show you my chart here. So you can see over the last 5 years, I started this journey in 2017. I think it was December 2017 is when I started. Didn't receive any dividends. So the first dividend I received was actually in 2018, and you can see the chart there. I had a 600% increase in 2019, so I received €435. 155% increase in 2020 when I received over €1,000, and I only had an 83.5% increase in 2021 when I received €2,045. So I mean the growth has been outstanding. So the target for this year, and European DJI challenged me on this, so my target for this year was going to be to earn €200 a month, but European DJI told me that was too easy, so my actual target will now to be 300 a month. So that'll be about 3,600 in dividend income. And to put that into context, last year I averaged 157. My goal was around 150, so I reached that. So it's going to be double what I averaged last year, which is going to be, it's going to be quite tough, but we think we can do it. I'm going to be reinvesting all my dividends. I have extra income from what I do some freelance writing for one of the big newsletters that we analyze companies every month. So I don't analyze these companies on my blog or on the podcast because it's quite separate. And we're also quite busy in work, so I'm doing a lot of overtime and a lot of on-call work. So all that's going to go towards dividends this year, and hopefully I can reach that milestone. So that's pretty much it then for the month of December and 2021. It's been, as I said, it's been a good month, and hopefully that will continue in 2022. Before you go, thanks a million if you've watched this. If you like these kind of videos, or if you like the podcast, please hit the like and subscribe button. It does mean a lot to us. And also maybe comment below on what type of videos you would like to see on YouTube. I'm still kind of figuring this out. I'll try, and as I said, I'm going to try and break down some of the podcast that we do, which is a bit long and maybe not suited to YouTube, and maybe try break them down with a little bit more visuals. And we had a guest on this week, Javier, which is quite good. I'm not sure I can maybe put that into a visual format, but we will certainly post it on YouTube. And if you want to listen to it on any of the podcast channels, please feel free. And that's all for me. Thank you.